It's 4:20 somewhere, and right now that somewhere is right here. Hello there, I'm Janae Burris.
And I'm Jake Brown, and welcome to the Cannabist Show, where we talk all things weed.
All things weed,
How
all
are
the
you?
time.
What's
Pretty
going
on? Just celebrated Independence Day. Jake, what does Independence Day mean to you this year?
It's weird. It's a weird one, right?
This year, for sure, it's different.
Fifth grade essay style. I mean, usually I'd be like, I'm excited about the president. Nope. I'm excited about steaks. The fewer of my neighbors that are actively participating in fireworks, the better. My dog. I'm excited about my dog not being too freaked out this year. What about you? What does Independence Day mean to you? And did you watch Independence Day?
The movie, I've
Right.
seen it plenty of times. You know, Vivica had the best body back then, so it's worth taking another look at.
Better than Will Smith.
Oh yeah, Will Smith.
We have a Twitter poll. Hello.
And Jeff Goldblum. Oh yeah, that's a good movie right there.
Bunch of all-stars.
It was a pretty good weekend. Independence Day, though, feels so weird this year. I don't feel completely independent. I felt more independent last year. But
I bet Jeff Sessions feels the most independent. I bet he is just like, nah, 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 nah. Everything's flags
he's
and
like,
fireworks.
I'm Uncle Sam. I'm Uncle Sam. I bet he wore the outfit and everything.
I bet he did too. And he got an impersonator and then fired him because he didn't look as good as Jeff Sessions did.
Ugh.
That's his thing.
I celebrated my independence, Juneteenth this year. So
Hey.
that's how I felt. That felt good. Another free one in the books for us African Americans. Way to go.
Hey, high five. That was our
Man, it
first
ain't
high
nothing
five on the show.
I don't really high five, it's the white man's now. But I'll do it for special needs kids and Jake.
Thank you. I feel like there's no crossover there. None at all.
All right.
Well, let's get to the weekend weed.
Let's do
Where are
it.
you kicking us off?
Okay, I want to say congratulations to all the lovely citizens of Nevada for their long-anticipated but minimally promoted recreational pot rollout this weekend.
Yay.
Well done, you guys. You did it. They did it pretty quickly, too.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, though, someone may have been sending out some smoke signals because the word really got out. Excited tourists and locals waited in line for up to 1 hour to make their legal purchases. My heart hurts for you guys, okay, you poor desert deers. If I had to wait an hour to purchase weed, I'd probably just go back home and steal more of my roommate's weed. He's a Trump supporter, so it's fine. I count it as reparations. Most customers purchasing about a quarter of an ounce of flour, a few edibles, and a bit of concentrates. Nothing too wild, but all running into the same dilemma that we run into here in Colorado, where does a law-abiding, legal pot purchasing adult go to consume said legal purchase? I don't know, The only legal place to consume your ganja in Nevada is on private property. Nevada is anticipating 2 out of every 3 recreational purchases to be made by tourists. They get more than 42 million tourists to Las Vegas every year alone, okay? So token up on the strip could end up costing you a fine of $600, you guys. That's 24 trips to the MGM Grand Buffet. Don't waste that money. Or 62 trips to the Circus Buffet restroom. Be careful out there. Save that money, you guys. Sounds like Nevada still has a few kinks to work out before they can really take advantage of all this prosperity and fun that legal marijuana could bring to the state.
I'm excited to do the Nevada experience, though. Turning to Colorado, where a drug raid turned out to have huge consequences for an entirely legal business.
Huge.
Now, has he ruined that word?
He's ruined it. He's ruined so much.
Well, these busts are, sometimes they're given whimsical names by law enforcement, like when they took down a Papa John's crime ring and called it Operation Extra Olives. That's cute. But when Colorado and federal agents took down 62 people and called it Operation Toker, it became a real problem for the lighter accessory coincidentally called the Toker. The bust, which they claim is the largest since recreational pot became legal in the state, was named because some of the defendants played poker together in high school. But now, the owner of Toker, the lighter accessory, says it could cost him $20,000 to $50,000 in search engine optimization costs to keep him on the front page of Google. That's insane. So I have a Toker.
One of my favorite products, by the way.
I wanted to go out and support them.
Favorite accessories. Accessories.
You know, this nice little letter. It's got this little poker thing. And for listeners, we're going to give you a chance to win one of these Toker pokers later in the episode, so stay tuned. But I've seen you with one of these, Janae. You're like a practicing Toker poker. For me, it looks too much like a cowboy boot.
Looks just like a cowboy boot.
It's too matchy with the Western wear shirt.
It's perfect for you. You're a little cowboy.
Yeehaw.
Tell me, so what does this part do? I don't know what that does.
That's to like tamp down your bowl.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
and then you can like wrap hemp
wick around it.
Has
some
to be
people
hemp
go,
wick
oh, why would you light anything with butane?
If you're out hiking
on.
and
you can't use a lighter.
And it's also like, I know this is mine. When people want to steal my lighter, I'm like, no, you got to give that back. That's mine. So this is a great product, and calling them Toker, that makes no sense. They played poker in high school together.
It's a deep cut. It was a real deep cut. I'm so glad they didn't name it anything. If I get busted, just don't look up my high school records, DEA. I was doing a lot of weird stuff back then.
Right now Vince puts up a picture of you from high school.
Oh God, there aren't any. How could he do that? None exist.
Oh. How about some more news from me? I'm Janae. I want to go back to the Nevada conversation, okay?
Sure.
Just a little bit. Because me and my beau, we're going to be visiting Las Vegas soon. My beau, my sisters, my mom, my aunts. It's going to be like attack of the Hottentot Amazonian feminazis when we get there. And I could use some help on navigating this new type of tourism. I want to be a tourist there. You know, I'm here in Colorado, and I have friends calling me, asking me for marijuana information, how they get cannabis, where they consume cannabis. I'm going to go to Las Vegas and be that idiot when I get there. I'm not using the internet. I'm just going to ask around. No, there's actually okay, back to what. Thank you to everyone who purchased and consumed responsibly this weekend, by the way. That's a big feat. The local police spent months preparing for some kind of zombie apocalypse, but reported that everything went smooth. No kidding. No kidding. I keep trying to explain to people, my Bible-thumping sister mostly, that cannabis consumers are extremely chill people. Okay, you're thinking of a different drug. We chill. I anticipate that being too chill will likely be the main negative experienced by business owners in Vegas. You're going to find a lot less letting it ride and more letting it sleep in. A little less snapping at the cocktail servers for more free booze, and more snapping up booths at buffets. There's a great list in this week's Cannabis featuring 6 things to know about Nevada marijuana. Number 1, hotels and casinos have been advised by state gambling regulators to continue to abide by federal law, which still bans pot. Okay, don't forget that. It would be wise for me to get my hands on some edibles. Okay, not my favorite way to consume, but it would be a mistake to toke up in Trump Hotel. It would be a mistake to stay at Trump Hotel.
Period, yeah.
It would be a big mistake. It was a big mistake that 46% of white women voted for Trump. I will never let it go. I will never let it go. Okay, I thought we were friends, white ladies. I spoke your language, Patagonia, Pinot Grigio. Anyway, next, the list warns that the potency of this modern-day cannabis may be much stronger than you remember. Bring it on, Nevada. I don't really remember anything anymore. Okay, smoking in Colorado is like underwater training. My lungs are yoked, y'all. The list also states that police will be heavily enforcing marijuana laws. So drink yourself silly as you skip down the strip and puke all the way up to the front door of the stratosphere, but consume your weed on private property only.
Wait, is the stratosphere the giant thing that makes you feel like you're falling forever?
Oof. Maybe. I only know about the buffet there.
Wait, you have like an intimate knowledge of these buffets. I think that was like the 4th different buffet reference. What's the go-to buffet food if you're high?
The go-to buffet food, you want to try all the desserts. Just give them a try.
Start at desserts, never the crab legs.
I do all of that stuff. What I like to do with my family, we all go together and we'll all just grab random things and we'll pass it around and pretend to enjoy them.
And pretend to enjoy.
Even if you don't like it, you have to go, this is delicious.
Oh, well, I love it. I love your concern over where people are going to smoke there. Because, Janae, now for the low, low price of $2,000, Denver businesses may soon be able to let adults vape weed behind their doors. It's amazing.
What?
Yeah, the final rules for companies that want to allow cannabis consumption on-site are out, and they're slightly less controversial than before. Dropped from the latest draft are requirements for people to sign waivers, which I don't know about you, but I always read every word of. Give me a waiver, I am in there. And then also vaporizer ventilation plans, because apparently secondhand vape inhalation is already covered under current laws, something I personally find hilarious. Still, there are tons of restrictions on where these consumption spaces can be, what can be consumed in them, and of course, no alcohol. The big question is, will any businesses actually sign up? And we'll update you when that pilot program rolls out.
All right.
I know a few coffee shops that are thinking about it. You got Mutiny, you've got some yoga studios.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've done high yoga. I would highly recommend it, but I don't know if I need to
What
get
about some outdoor spaces? You heard anything about that? I feel like that's the best thing to do here in Colorado is enjoy the outdoor spaces with a little cannabis.
Well, so Emmett Reischoffer, who we've had on the show and one of the I-300 proponents.
I keep running into Emmett.
He's a good man to run into. He's out and about.
While I'm high, though, and I'm like, I know this guy.
It's the bane of Emmett's existence is that people are always high and they're like, what?
I know you
He's
know
like,
that.
I'm doing my job. All right, great. But he brings up the fact that Red Rocks right now is the place where people like widely smoke pot. So why not just have a designated area for them to do that instead of people kind of mixing it in throughout the crowds? Like anyone who's ever been to a concert knows that people get high there. So he's like, okay, this is an outdoor space. Why couldn't we have a roped off area where that's where people go and consume? So it's, a little respectful if people are there with like, young kids or, whatever, that they're not necessarily getting the, again, secondhand vape smoke. But so that's something that is kind of off the table right now. But it is a pilot program, so all this could change, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. Vacation, usually a time to wind down. I want to unload in a new segment we call Jake's Fired Up.
What?
What has me fired up? All right, I'm sick of people saying that dispensaries look like Apple stores. Now, I'll admit, I've been guilty of this in the past, but just because weed isn't coming from a dude in a backpack, a dude with a backpack, if the weed's coming from a dude inside of a backpack,
Dude,
that is like the
climbs out of
best
his
Russian
backpack.
nesting doll of weed ever.
First they bring in this huge backpack, right?
Then
this guy climbs out of this
whoa!
backpack
And
covered
then
in weed.
inside of him is a smaller backpack with weed in it. It's real weird and messy. No, instead of, just because a guy, like the weed isn't coming from a man with a backpack, doesn't mean it's equal to one of the biggest retail successes of modern times. When a story about a new MedMen store in Santa Ana, California claimed that people might mistake it for an Apple store if it wasn't for the smell, failed my sniff test. Sure, at upwards of $70 an eighth, you're definitely paying Mac prices, but a few wooden tables and iPads does not an Apple store make. Part of what makes the latter so unique is the ability to test drive their products with an internet connection, actually use the app, not look at old models behind a glass case. At the point that we're judging cannabis by stock photos on a screen and getting whiffs through tiny windows, they've missed the point of the Apple Store experience entirely. And then it's just a high-end version of knockoffs like Nugtella or Pop Tarts. That's what has me fired up.
I love it.
Don't tell me, it's just, you like look at it and it's just like, oh, there's cement floors and wooden tables and there's iPads on them.
Yeah.
It's not an Apple store.
Yeah.
That's how low the bar has been set now.
I
Like, put some stuff on the walls.
I never go to the Apple store. Too expensive. I buy my apples from guys with backpacks all the time.
Amen.
Guys who live in backpacks.
Did it fall off the truck? All right, give it to me at a third of the cost.
Cracked screen, perfect for me.
All right.
No, I like to see you getting fired up like that, though. It's almost saw a little color in your cheeks there. Very
Watch
close.
out, everybody! Jake's gonna blow his lid. It was like when I did the exercise segment.
Yeah.
Get my blood flowing a little bit, and you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, for more on that story and all of the great stories that you heard about, including the part 3 of a really good CBD story from our own Alicia Wallace, visit us online at thecannabist.co. Now, from a tinier, much more serious desk, that very Alicia Wallace, this week's Quick Hit.
Nevada's top tourist draws serve as bastions for adult-centered entertainment. The addition of legal marijuana seems like a natural fit for that mix, industry proponents say. However, you won't be seeing the Nevada Division of Tourism backing cannabis-focused campaigns anytime soon. As with other states that have gone down the legal cannabis path, Nevada's tourism officials aren't ready to go all in on promoting this budding industry. That's because there's a spotlight on the federally regulated hotel casinos throughout the state and the fact marijuana is still illegal in the eyes of the feds. But the state tourism office isn't ready to fold on the issue just yet. A tourism official told the Cannabist that starting next year, they plan to research the potential tourism draw of legal marijuana and the marketing of that industry for a state that is home to the adult playgrounds of Las Vegas and Reno. Check out the rest of the story on thecannabist.co, where we continue to track in depth this burgeoning new marijuana market. I'm Alicia Wallace with this week's Quick Hit.
Thanks, Alicia. Today's guest has come up with a new way to judge concentrates here in Colorado. Please join me in welcoming Gabe Fairorth to the show. Yay! What's up? All right, so full disclosure, we've known each other for many years. We worked together. When I first met you, I was same company. I was on the marketing side. You were on the grow side. Now you're getting really involved with concentrates. When did that start for you?
It started for me, I started working with Kind Bill and Rye.
Friend of the show, Kind Bill.
When those guys first started doing live resin, I think back in like 2014, we started giving those guys some of the first material they ran. And then last year in 2016, we actually got second place in the Cannabis Cup. Me, Bill, and Rye got second place for our glaze. So once we did that, it really started pushing me to kind of delve into the concentrate realm.
So are you still a flower guy? Were you a flower guy up until live resin? Did it rock your world and you're like, I'm never going back?
I was a flower guy until I hit live resin, and then honestly, the first time I smoked it, I had a horrible anxiety attack, and it was like the worst experience I've ever had. And it was actually at the Cannabis Cup, I think 2 years before we won, in 2014. So I tried it, and I was like, "This is crazy. I don't know what to do here." I'd never been like that, and then.
So I would think I was at the same cup, and if listeners at home watch Rolling Papers, the documentary, Rye gives me a dab, and then I cough for like 5 minutes.
Right.
Because we were still high temping the shit.
Yeah,
out
we
of
were
them,
doing
too.
totally.
Like,
Nobody knew about low temp or flavor or any of that stuff. So I mean,
No,
and I
we
was
knew how to kill people,
and
though.
I was the same way, dude. Like literally, that first dab I took, I was like crying. I remember just standing there with my hand on a pole, and then all of a sudden stuff just started getting weird, and I'm like. I'm not comfortable with this, man. And it's funny because I'm one of the guys that has always told people you can always get where you want to go with THC.
Sure.
Like if you want to hallucinate, if you want to see things, if you want to come to Jesus, THC will do it. You got to take enough. You know what I mean?
and so you have this like anxiety attack. When do you go back?
It probably took me about a year or so, but
That's a good sabbatical.
Honestly, I had a strain that I had really wanted to do that it's Gorilla Glue Tom Hill's Haze, which is actually what we won with. I had Rye run it, and I think it was 2015. We were trying to get it in. The manager that I work for didn't get it in time, and we actually didn't get to enter it. So it was almost even more serendipitous when we won because it was like a second shot.
Sure.
And not for
the
nothing.
redemption.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but in that 2016 round, we only had one entry.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the owners of the shop I work for, Sacred Seed, and I was like, "Hey, man, let me put this in. If we don't win, I'll never bother you guys again. Like, I'll never just give me a chance."
Right.
So it wasn't like we were one of those companies that went in there with 10, 20. I talked to companies that year that had 12 entries. You know what I mean? Which is fine. I'm not knocking anybody for that.
You got to be in it to win it.
But we were just trying to be as genuine as possible,
Okay.
And honestly, when they ran it, when Rye tried it, when Bill tried it, everybody was like, "Dude, this is a winner. Like, we can do something with this."
So you guys are making these crazy good concentrates. You're winning awards with them, and then you're like, you know what? I'll host my own awards.
Well, actually, what actually ended up happening was we were getting ready for this year's Cannabis Cup. And I had a strain that I had already pre-selected, and throughout the year, I had given it to 2 different companies. Well, when it came back different. And so I started questioning.
Different how?
It tasted different. The first company I gave it to, it had a much sweeter taste.
Okay.
After giving it, because after we won the cup, we started, hey, let's work with more companies. More companies started hitting us up.
Sure.
You know, so we're like, hey, let's spread it around. Then I started getting the idea of starting to give it to different companies. So we gave it to 2 different companies, and when it came back from the second company, I was like, this is way different. I was like, something's wrong here. Somebody did something's weird.
But this is like connoisseur level cannabis tasting, right? You're going, okay, we gave somebody the same starting, flower, and they sent back 2 different things, and you can taste the difference.
Oh yeah, you can taste it, you can smell it, you can. I mean, it even some of the colors is visible,
Okay.
So, per that happening, at the same time, it was just about April. We were getting ready for cannabis cup season. I had 6 of these plants, and I grow my plants big.
Sure.
So I had 6 of these plants, and I was like, you know what? I said, we need to give these to different companies and see if my theory is right about different techniques, different people can really change. It'll be slight, but it can definitely change the outcome of the extract.
Was it true?
It was very true. And I think, so what we ended up doing was we started the Clementine Challenge. We took 6 companies. We gave all 6 companies the same starting material from the same batch, all grown in the same room, the same way, the same time. And we gave them all the same material. We anonymized the actual competition, so we made it so that basically nobody knew who it was. And then we sold 86 half-gram flights. So we put it out to our customers, we put it out to the people, plus we let the actual competitors have flights as well, but we put it out to everyone to put in their votes as to what they thought. And the really cool thing about it was with social media, people made little videos, we had little cards that people filled out, and people were really honest about what they thought. And the nice thing was people really saw the differences.
Sure.
People really saw, there are certain techniques, certain gases you use. The reality is the temperature. These guys are dealing with such low temperatures, such super critical temperatures that when you get down to negative 20, 30, 40 degrees, 2, 3, 4 degrees makes an incredible difference in the terpenes you pull out, the THC you pull out, the actual yield that you get, and
Were the participants surprised to see the differences?
Yes. I mean, the reality is, in my yield category, I had a difference of 40 grams in how much people pulled out. They all got the same exact
And how much did they start with?
They started with 2,000 grams of fresh frozen material.
Okay.
So basically about 4 pounds of fresh frozen material.
And so, but that 40 grams compared to,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a lot when
No,
you're talking
but
about
when you
2,000
talk
going in.
percentage, percentage-wise, it's a huge percentage.
So did you get to smoke the extras?
No.
All right, so you've got all of these different samples. They come from the same starting material. Did you tend to agree with what what consumers had to say, or is that ultimately kind of irrelevant?
Ultimately, it's irrelevant. The reality is.
Because we're talking about you as a connoisseur who can really taste and suss out these differences, compared to people that are like, yeah, well, I go to the shop and I buy a little, and you don't know what temperature they're heating up to, or
And that's true as well. But that being said, going in there that morning, we sold this thing out in 4 hours.
Nice.
We had a line out the door of 50 people when we opened the store. People were ready for it, and it seemed like that crowd was especially savvy when it came. Like they knew what they were in there for. It didn't seem like this was a whole crowd of like high temperature dabbers who are in there.
They're on YouTube just taking the hottest
yeah,
dabs they can take.
So and that's something that I've said this to a couple people now, but like. The reality is you're not going to get a flower situation like that. Like you're not going to get it where you release some crazy strain of marijuana and you have 100 people lining up to the door on a Saturday morning. Like
Unless it's an Apple store.
And then, Steve Jobs created weed, then we would have it. But that would be immaculate, But
I'm an Android guy, man. Don't bring me into this.
But the reality is, I think a lot of these people consider themselves almost like sommeliers, you know, where they can, and not for nothing, but we've proven that there can be differences.
Sure.
So now people are really getting into it, on top of the fact that, like, where are there really any competitions where someone can just walk into a store and be a judge?
Sure.
You know what I mean? You know, you go to any of these High Times, Chalice, any of these things, you're paying a lot of money and it's very limited, you know. So it's a neat experience to be able to pass that on to the consumer, because, you know, that's one of the things we all enjoy about it. You know?
Well, and then so you do the first one, line out the door, you do a second one. What did you learn in between the two?
You know, we definitely there were some things we definitely adjusted in the first one. We had given people the tech that was done, the name of the machine, and the name of the product that was pushed out. But when it comes to something like live resin, everyone knows that Bill is the guy who makes live resin. So if I have a card and there's 5 things, there's 6 things on there, and one of them is labeled live resin, everybody knows it's Bill. You know
So a
what I
little
mean?
more anonymous this time?
Yeah, so this time we took out the tech, we took out the gas, and we took out the name of the product. So, and I really wanted, you know, I wanted people to guess. You know, I'm trying to make it as hard on people as possible. You know, and every time we do it, we learn a little something. You know, the tech, and not for nothing, everybody stepped a lot harder this time.
Okay,
You know,
so you're
like-
saying because I think that would be one of the biggest benefits as a consumer, is that they, you know, you have all of these guys competing against each other, they turn out a high quality product.
Yeah.
Conversely, you also have people that maybe it's not representative of what they usually do because they're trying that much harder.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. You know, the last round we did, you know, and some people were upset about it, but the reality is it's our competition. We
Yeah.
can kind of run it however we want. And the reality is they didn't like the CO2. But my part of it was I wanted to show to people that CO2 can survive in a live resin market. It might not be quite at the position that live resin's at right now, but the reality is, you know, sauce wasn't around 2 years ago, or if it was around, everybody was like, "Oh, that's junk. We don't want. That's auto buttering. We don't want to smoke that." You know what I mean?
So when you say sauce and auto buttering, for somebody that has no idea what you're talking about, Janae with a quiet thumb point.
so basically, what happens is, you know, like,
I did get to try some sauce recently, but
So
it was my first time.
a couple years ago, they were making shatter, you know, and you remember what shatter is. But if you had it around too long, it would start to lose its consistency, and it wouldn't be shatter anymore. It would be more like this sugar consistency, and people didn't like that because all the terps bled out onto the paper that you used to stick it in. Well, nowadays everybody puts it in glass jars, so even if the terps do bleed out, they're still in the glass. Like, they're still going to be in the glass jar. So it's more an evolution of what people have learned, really.
What do you think the next big thing's going to be? Because right now it's everyone likes their big, you know, THCA crystals,
Yeah.
and what do you see on the horizon?
I mean, it's really tough to say. I mean, everything, you know, it's all cyclical, you know. So I mean,
So is it going to be bubble hash? Bubble comes back?
well, I mean, I think you're gonna see a lot of that. I think, you know, I mean, a lot of the rosin tech that I've seen lately is like pretty amazing. And I definitely, if you had talked to me about that 2 years ago, I would have been laughing at you.
Well,
some of
that
the-
was back when rosin tech was mostly like people with with curling iron or
Right.
hair straighteners.
Honestly, I think a lot of the stuff that you're going to see is a lot of the stuff like, you know, with Rye doing like Bong Appetit and stuff like that. You know, we've talked a lot about doing stuff where it's more of a whole experience.
Okay.
You know, you don't like it's you know, like gone are the days of like a bunch of dudes like sitting in a room smoking joints and like having it be like, you know, like it used to be on that 70s show where you're
Sorry,
like
the
down
guys.
where you're like
Sorry
down
to
in
all
your
my
parents'
friends.
basement, you know? It's like, but we want it to be like more social, where you
Should
could like
be.
go to a
Right.
bar and like actually hang out with your friends and not have it be so taboo. You know, like people don't look at drinking as taboo, and that's the way it should be.
I think it should be a whole
that's the way it
experience
should
because
be.
there are certain activities you might want to do when you.
And that's just it.
consume.
And not for nothing, but like you know, one of the things I'm really looking at in the future is combining flavors, combining things, like not necessarily having it be necessarily an experience where you get high, but more so where you do terps, you do CBD, you get some food in there, you have music going, you have all these different things where it's like a whole experience.
I'm going to want to be high too. When I'm doing all
invite
that,
me
though.
the next time you do that.
Oh, we will.
I totally want to do it.
Well, now let's do it. It's everybody's, America's favorite game. It's Pot or Not.
America, this is you.
Don't sue us, Bob Saget. Pot or Not. Hey, and this week, if you want to win that Toker Poker, all you have to do is shoot us your suggestions for Pot or Not. Use hashtag Pot or Not, and send us something that you might think makes a fun potential weed strain name. If we pick yours, we'll send you out that Toker Poker. All right, Gabe, are you ready?
I hope so.
The game is simple. I'm going to tell you a name. You're going to tell me if it's pot or not. Some things are also not pot, but pot at the same time. So if it is a strain name and also another thing, this game's so easy to play. All right, number one.
What's our top score so far, though? What is he shooting for?
High score is 7. Can he break the high score?
This is going to be tough.
Number 1, Blue Steel. Is it pot or is it not?
It sounds like a porno.
Watch some Superman themed porn.
Say not.
It is.
Wow.
All right, so a lot of people know Blue Steel from its iconic mention in the movie Zoolander.
Yeah.
But it's also exotic genetics. It's an OG blueberry with their Starfighter F3 called the Cube.
It was a tricky one because I was thinking it's from the movie for sure.
But that's the thing,
Not
you
from
know?
the porn movie that he's referencing, from the legitimate.
Which is also, I mean, probably, should this
sure
just be Potter porn?
Potter
That's what
porn.
this game's going to be. All right, number 2, 0 for 1. Purple Merkle. Purple Merkle.
Merkel?
Gay porn.
I'm with you there. I mean, I know Purple Urkel, so I mean, I guess I'll say it's a weed strain.
It's not.
Oh,
Terrible.
man.
I'm going down quick here.
Is it Angela Merkel? Is that what you're...
Well, and there is actually a Merkel strain out now, which
These are hard, Jake.
You know, but
Listen.
that's why he has them.
Yeah.
he knew.
All right, let's pick it back up with number 3, Wind Song.
I'll say yes.
It is not.
Yes.
Wind Song is
Nice.
the name of a
I
Colorado
can only tie
Springs
for best now.
retirement
Yes.
community.
Wind Song.
Wind Song's where you send Nana after
You
You know
There's
what?
a perfume
I'm
called
going to
Wind
create a
Song
song.
from the
I'm going
80s.
to create a strain now, name Wind Song now.
I would
You
too.
know,
And
that's
then
it.
Do it.
you get
Yeah.
into naming rights more with the retirement community. Number 4, Neon Gold. Neon Gold.
Let's just say yes. Why not?
I like it. You're just gonna go, oh yes.
yes.
In fact, that is no.
Yes.
Neon Gold
Yes.
is an indie record label. Number 5, Shorts Cargo.
God, it doesn't sound like a strain, but I've been wrong so far. So yes, I'm going to say it's a strain.
It's not. That's just
Yes.
stuff in
Yes.
your shorts.
Yes.
Shorts Cargo.
Yes.
Number 6, Snowcap.
That's definitely a strain.
And it definitely is. He's on the
right.
board. All right, number 7, Crystal Stiletto.
God, I hope it's not a strain. I'm going to say no.
It is not.
Yes.
Operation Crystal Stiletto was a meth ring that was busted up.
Dang.
Back to those operation names. You never know. All right, so 2 points. Number 8, Commerce City Kush.
Yeah, that's a strain.
That is definitely a strain. I don't know why anybody would
Why-
want to smoke
yeah, why you
anything
would
named
name
Commerce
It
City.
sounds
but
so
You
undesirable.
might as just name it the dog food. You know?
Dog
Because that's
food
what
Kush.
that's what Commerce City smells like is dog food.
No, that's a rare dankness strain across this ChemDog 4. Number 9, Spirit of 76.
I'll say yes.
It is.
Really?
In
Is that a Philly
honor
strain?
Of what's that?
Is that a Philly strain?
No, I've actually reviewed that one for the Cannabist. If you want to read more about Spirit of 76, visit us online at thecannabist.co.
Oh man, it's the one they smoked during the Civil War, right?
they didn't allow people to back then. You had to rub it on your body in case you got old
They were
bayoneted.
smoking back then.
All right, and to get 5 points, this is for point number 5. OG Glue Sniffer, pot or not?
Pot.
That is! Matt Nuska,
my
Thunder Seeds.
God, OG
5
Glue
points.
Sniffer.
Is that
That's Vince's nickname. in
is
high
that
school,
our
right? OG
tied
Glue
for
Sniffer.
3rd now on the all-time?
Yes.
Yeah, you're 3rd. Hey.
Nothing wrong with third.
No.
Weak start, but I finished strong.
Exactly. That was I randomize them every week.
You're so good at making these up? They all sound like pot names.
Blue Steel is just an actual pot name.
Yeah.
People are very creative. I think that's the lesson learned. Let's do plugs really quick. Gabe, where can people find more information about the upcoming challenges?
They can find more information at Sacred Seeds website, and they can also find it on our Instagram at SacredSeed303.
Cool. Janae, what do you got coming up?
I got Pussy Bros Presents, Friday at Comedy Room. First Friday is our show. We've got David Rodriguez as our headliner. And then Monday, birthday party at Rack House. Brandy Posey is our headliner. So that's what's up.
Word. And I'm in California by the time this airs. Come see me at Chalice. Burn. Thank you so much to Gabe Fairorth for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. As always, all we want you to do, go rate, go review it, then leave more ratings and reviews. I really appreciate people on YouTube. They keep telling us, quit trying to write jokes. It's just like everybody I've ever performed comedy for. For Janae Burris, producer Vince, and the whole Cannabist Show crew, I'm Jake Brown. We'll see you next week.
I'm allowed to lose, I choose to win, I'm all in, I'm calling any posse, you be raising at the end, I say it again, ain't afraid to get in, I be going for the jackpot with aces in my hand, I'm raw.